Right now. Oh my goodness, you guys are in for a treat. So fasten your seatbelts because we're going to learn and grow together with Ocean Robbins. Time to dance, Ocean. This is where dancing is mandatory.
When life gets tough and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be. I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. And for those of you who are new to the Lillian McDermott radio show, the purpose of the show is to provide a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening friend, will feel empowered to live the life of your dreams. Now, today, again, you're going to have to want to put my number on your favorites because we're giving away a book called Voices of the Food Revolution. So grab your pitchforks and your knives because we are going to learn what it's like to take our lives back. So if you want to be a winner of the book, if you're the third caller or texter, you are welcome to win. 407-373-5959 is the number. That's 407-373-5959. Now today, I want to ask you, I'm just going to say this. You've heard me say before that you don't inherit. Yes, you do inherit DNA of your family, but what you truly inherit is the way you eat, sleep, drink. It's the food. It's the food that you're the family recipes. And so today I want to encourage you to look at what you inherited from your family. Now, Ocean Robbins is our teacher today, and his father, John, is the son of the co-founder of Baskin-Robbins. John Robbins saw how diabetes and disease affected his father and the people around him, which is what he would have inherited had he not taken a stand. He walked away from the family ice cream business. Ocean grew up in a totally different lifestyle than his father. And so Ocean is here today because he's going to share his journey, his family's journey of the food journey that we all face. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, Ocean Robbins, he's an activist, an author, a speaker, and so much more, a father, a husband, because he's here to do just that. Welcome, Ocean, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you. So share a little bit about your background. And well, first, your father was a generational pattern shifter. He just said, no more of this. So share a little bit of that and how it affected you.
Sure. Well, my dad, John, grew up with an ice cream cone-shaped swimming pool in the backyard, and he was groomed from early childhood to one day join in running the family company.
Sure.
But when he was in his early 20s, he was offered that chance, and he said no. And he walked away from this path that was practically paved with gold and ice cream to, as we jokingly say in our family, follow his own rocky road.
Sure.
And he ended up becoming a best-selling author, writing about food and health. And the media called him the rebel without a cone. I was born to parents who had chosen a very unique path. Instead of running a multinational ice cream company, my parents were practicing yoga and meditation for several hours a day and naming their kid Ocean. Me. As I was coming of age, I saw how my dad's work was inspiring a lot of people, and I decided I wanted to do something to reach out to my generation. And I wound up founding a nonprofit organization called Yes, and we worked with young leaders in over 65 countries. I directed that for 20 years, reaching more than 650,000 change makers around the planet and in person. And then I decided that everybody eats, and that if I wanted to make the biggest possible difference on the planet, I really wanted to focus on food, which is kind of chip off the old block, you could say, looking at my family history. And, what I was seeing was the American way of growing food and processing food and consuming food was spreading. KFC, McDonald's, Monsanto, big agribusiness, chemicals, etc. And as it was spreading, hospitals were filling up.
Sure.
Waistlines were expanding. People were getting diseases they'd never had before. Rates of diabetes and obesity and heart disease and cancer were skyrocketing in places like China and India, where they were becoming more and more like us. Yeah. And so as an American, I felt I had this responsibility to speak out and try to stand with my family legacy for a food revolution. So in 2012, I joined with my dad in launching the Food Revolution Network. And we're committed to healthy, ethical, sustainable food for everybody.
That's wonderful. What a great gift you received, because how was your life as a child? Was it an adventure, or was it, oh no, I've got to do another chore?
Oh, I think life's always an adventure when you decide to live adventurously. Yeah. I was a kind of militant food activist in my childhood.
Wow.
And, so in school, I sometimes got in fights with my friends over the contents of their lunch boxes. And, over time, I came to realize that there's no point preaching compassion for all life if you're going to get in fights with your best friend. So I realized, if we want to be effective in making a difference in the world, we have to start with love for all of life and all of humanity.
You're absolutely right. And so are you ready, my listening friend? We are going to take this little journey. Hopefully you will join us in this revolution. Like I said, grab your forks. Here we go. And we're going to continue our conversation with Ocean Robbins when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you.
Be right here waiting for you.
Isn't that amazing? How old were you when you realized that you're not going to get into more arguments you're not going to fight about having compassion? When did that click with you, Ocean?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I was in second grade, and my best friend Damien had a beef sandwich. And, I started asking him if he believed in the death penalty for murder. I was a vegetarian at the time, and I was passionate about it. And we got in a big fight. And by the end of it, his sandwich was in the garbage, and I was in the principal's office. And, I had to think a lot about it. And, what I've come to learn over the years is the wisdom in what Dr. Martin Luther King told us. He said, you have no moral authority with those who can feel your underlying contempt. And what we see in the food world today is that there is a lot of passion. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are fed up with the toxic food system and have discovered ideas and potentially resources that have helped them lose weight or, have some improvements, or that they hope will do so. And we get passionate, and sometimes we get very righteous about that. It's like, whose diet is best? Some people are really big on paleo or Atkins or ketogenic. Some people are really big on vegan or vegetarian or, whole foods, plant-based, or all these different philosophies. And, what I think we miss sometimes when we get so strident on our particular position is we miss that there are some things that medical science is completely clear on that we kind of all have in common when you look at it, which is that we're living in a toxic food culture.
That is so important to say on the air as well. I know that we're recording here for YouTube and Facebook, but I really want to emphasize this. This is so crucial in an awareness that we have ignored. At the beginning, when I was talking about our inheritance, and what we inherit is not so much our DNA, although we have our DNA, what we inherit are our family recipes. Your life could be totally different today if your father would have just said, you know what, we're a victim of our DNA. I'm just going to get diabetes and get heavy and die of dementia. I'm just going to accept that. But he didn't accept it. And as a result, your life is different. And I'd like for you to ponder, and I'm sure you have done this already, how would your life be like today? And we can talk about this maybe in the next break. If your father would have continued down that path, would you have been able to fight for that piece of meat? Would you be fighting for that? But anyway, I sense that we're about to get started on our second segment, and here we go. Right on cue. Now we keep dancing.
You can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow with one another. Today's teacher is Ocean Robbins. And for those of you who are just tuning in, Ocean's father walked away from the family business. I'm sure you've heard of a little store called Baskin-Robbins. Yes. So Ocean could have inherited all of this, but your father decided to walk away. How is your life different? How was your life different from your father growing up, Ocean?
Oh my goodness, so different. I mean, my dad grew up in a household where people were pretty much eating the standard American diet plus a double scoop of ice cream. Mm-hmm. It was also a household where he was raised by kind of I guess you could say old school values, like children were to be seen and not heard at the dinner table. I grew up in a family that was pretty boisterous. We talked about things that matter. We talked about our dreams, and we talked about the fate of the world. And we were eating real, whole, natural food, much of it growing in the garden. From the time I was a little kid, I was raised to think critically about the food culture around us. So when I saw my friends eating candy wrappers, eating candy, I'd look at the wrapper and I'd read the ingredients out loud to them. And we'd talk about all the chemicals whose names we couldn't pronounce. I was a pretty radical kind of activist, I guess you could say.
I would say.
And over the years, I've learned to have a healthy dose of respect for every human being's sovereignty. I think every human being needs to decide that fundamental question of what we put in our mouths is one of the most sacred responsibilities a person has. And everyone deserves complete freedom on that. Now, here's the thing, though, Lillian. We don't have freedom on that. We have corporations, the industrialized food industry that is spending billions of dollars trying to hijack the American taste bud.
Yes.
They have literally made us crave junk food. And they have craveability experts who spend extremely large amounts of time and money and thought figuring out how to hook us on a lifetime of addiction to products that are killing us. Oh. And this is the tragic reality. We have epidemic rates of obesity and diabetes and heart disease and cancer and other lifestyle-induced chronic illness. These are not illnesses that are caused by genetics. These are not even entirely caused by the environment around us. They are fundamentally, most of all, caused by what we eat. We are literally digging our own graves with our knives and our forks.
How many times, Ocean, have you heard somebody say, we're all going to die about something. I might as well be happy when I die. Nobody's happy when they're dying of lung cancer. Nobody's happy when they're dying of COPD. Nobody's happy. So it's the drug. Dr. Joel Fuhrman is a regular on my show for the last 2 years. He's been on monthly. I absolutely adore him. And I know that he's one of the people that has written in your book, or that has given a thought of what his philosophy is in your book, Voices of the Food Revolution. By the way, 407-373-5959, if you'd like a copy, be the third caller or texter. When you call, please leave a message. Third caller or texter to win Voices of the Revolution. Now, when Dr. Joel Fuhrman comes on the show, he basically is very clear that we don't have to die of these things, that we could live up to 100 and plus and be healthy. So how frustrating is it for you as you are sharing this stuff and you're hearing things like, I'm going to die of something?
Yeah, well, we are all going to die.
Sure.
Birth is a terminal diagnosis, I guess you could say.
Yes.
And the question is, how are we going to live?
Correct.
And I'm not just interested in adding years to life, although I think that's important. I'm also interested in adding life to years. so that we have more vitality and more vibrancy. And what breaks my heart is how many people are living chronically ill.
Yes.
How many people are hooked on prescription medications that they would die without? How many people are living with limited mobility and limited aliveness and limited circulation through their body, and have compromised so much on the quality of their lives? And this is what breaks my heart. How many people think it's their fault that they're sick, who think that they just get used to carrying around an extra 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds and think that's normal. 2/3 of our population is overweight or obese. When the Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation at the University of Washington looked at causes of death around the world, they conducted the largest study in world history. They called their report The Global Burden of Disease. And they concluded that in the United States, the American diet specifically is causing 672,000 deaths per year.
Wow.
In the United States, which is more Americans than died in World Wars I, II, Vietnam, both Iraq wars, Afghanistan war, Korean war, all combined. But this time the cause of death isn't another country, it's our own knives and forks and what we're doing with them. Now, we're talking death here, but let me be very clear. Lifestyle-induced illness doesn't just kill you on the spot one day. It's not like a car crash. It's something that builds up over the course of decades.
Yeah.
And, you know, when people die of cancer or heart disease or diabetes, we call it a cause of death. That might be what's on the death certificate. But to be more honest about it, it's kind of like if you drove your car at 70 miles an hour into a brick wall, the death certificate might say the cause of death was impact with a brick wall. But you know and I know that the real cause of death was driving at 70 miles an hour into that brick wall.
Sure.
And just as surely, if you eat the standard American diet, you will get the standard American diseases.
Wow.
Just like if you drive into a brick wall, you're going to die of brick wall impact. So it is predictable that if you eat this way and live this way, you're going to suffer this way. Similarly, it is predictable that if you make certain changes, if you base your diet around whole, real, natural foods, if you unhook yourself from addiction to the toxic food culture, if you exercise, if you have more love and positive relationships in your life, you are going to reverse a lot of these illnesses, and you're going to radically increase not just your life expectancy, but your vitality expectancy. Now, there are no guarantees in life. This isn't a silver bullet. This is a predictable trajectory, right?
Yeah.
And so, of course, there's always going to be exceptions. Of course, you've got some people who live into their 90s and smoke and eat junk food their entire lives, right?
Yeah.
But you've also got the statistics, right? A lot of statistics which tell us in no uncertain terms that people who eat more whole grains and more legumes and more fruits and vegetables and more real unprocessed foods are going to live longer, healthier lives. And then when people eat more processed foods, especially processed meats, more sugar, more animal products, generally, statistically, the direction is clear. You're going to have more sickness and more disease and more suffering. So ultimately, the choice is yours. The choice is mine. What are we going to do with this knowledge? And how are we going to put it into action?
Okay, so that's a great, I loved everything you said. I want to go back to standard American diseases. The standard, if you eat the SAD, is also translates to standard American diseases. If you have the standard American diet, I like that. I like that shift there. But let's talk about choice. Do we really have choice as an addict? If you have an addictive personality,
right.
I'm going to leave heroin on the counter, I'm going to leave cocaine or money. How much choice do we have of the matter when we have a mind that's been addicted to whatever it is that we want to have? What do you say to that?
You know, in some ways, I think sugar is more addictive than cocaine.
Absolutely.
Physiologically, but also, quite frankly, it tastes good. Cocaine does. Yeah, I don't know that personally, but that's what I hear.
Good clarification and disclaimer. Hear it on the Lillian McDermott radio show. Ocean doesn't like cocaine.
Yeah. So I think that the reality is that it's also advertised all over the place, right? And so whereas there's a cultural stigma against drug addiction, there's actually a cultural glorification of junk food. I mean, we celebrate birthdays and weddings and parties with sugar. And at a chemical level in the brain, release of sugar into the body, spike in blood sugar, also flour products, can cause a release of dopamine in the brain, which is triggering the reward center.
Mm-hmm.
And it's telling the brain, like, I want more of this. Give me more. This is good. Mm-hmm. Now, biologically, we were wired to like sweet things because sweet fruit was ripe. And sweet vegetables were probably at the peak of ripeness too. Mm-hmm. And also because when you're in a survival mode, fast calories can be beneficial. Mm-hmm. But today in the modern world, the brain has been completely hijacked by a junk food industry that has produced products that we were completely not prepared for in our biological evolution. Or if you are a creationist, by the creator. I don't think the creator had, Twink Hostess Twinkies in mind. So
on the 8th day, he created Twinkies.
No, I don't think those were in the Garden of Eden.
No. Yeah. He rested before he came up with a Twinkie.
That's right. So here we are in this day and age with food-like products masquerading as food and tricking our brains.
Yes.
And hooking us on junk. So do we have choice? Absolutely. But here's the thing. It takes a lot more than willpower to unhook yourself from addiction.
Yes.
Because what happens is addiction strikes when your will is the weakest. Mm-hmm. And we actually don't have that much willpower in any given day. I mean, you can fight and struggle against certain things, but at the end of the day, you're going to get tired. Your will is going to get sapped. And it's when you're down and fatigued that you're going to fall into cravings and addictive tendencies if you don't have strong boundaries and healthy habits in place. Mm-hmm. So the key is to create really clear, bright lines, to create clear rules that you follow consistently, no matter what. And for a lot of people, when it comes to food addiction, we have to get off of all sugar and all flour products. And that's what we see. Now, for people who are not highly addictive, that's not necessary. But if you find yourself craving things that are not in your best interests, if you find yourself overwhelmingly drawn to things, even when you know better, then that's your brain playing tricks on you because it's hooked. And your mind knows better, but your brain is more powerful than your mind is the truth of it.
Well, I want to add something there because our gut also, there's that mind-gut connection. And if we are feeding bad bacteria, if we're cultivating a microbiome that is absolutely devoid of good bacteria, that bad bacteria is going to start making demands, no different than if a criminal hijacks your car, they're not going to be kind about it. So that gut bacteria is now making demands to the brain.
Well, let's talk about bacteria for a second. We think that we are in control of our lives, but did you know that you actually have more DNA in your gut than you do in your what you call yourself by a factor of many fold?
Yeah.
We have tens of trillions of bacteria in our bodies, and they actually send signals. When you feel a hunger in your gut, it actually might be the bacteria that are hungry.
That's right.
They're actually telling you what they want. And if they are bacteria that feast on sugar, then they're going to be hungry for sugar. Yes. So when you actually learn to cultivate healthier food choices, you're going to cultivate the bacteria that thrive on those food choices, which makes it easier and easier to do the right thing. Let me tell you something. It is possible to crave broccoli, kale, cabbage, vegetables. It's possible. When that's what the bacteria in your gut get accustomed to, they want more of it.
Absolutely. You've spoken the truth. Amen to that, brother. And so here's the thing. What bacteria are you feeding right now, today? And what are you willing to do to change it? We're going to talk a little bit more about Voices of the Food Revolution with Ocean Robbins and be the third caller to leave a message or text her 407-373-5959 and get a free copy of the book, Voices of the Food Revolution. And we're going to continue worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
It's amazing, Ocean. There's so many things that we don't know. And as we talk about choice, how much choice do we really have when we have given our life over? We think it's an illusion. We think we're choosing McDonald's. We think we're choosing, and not to name certain fast food restaurants, but any fast food restaurant, we think we're choosing it. But the reality is we've been domesticated into choosing it.
We have. And so I think one of the most precious things in the world is sovereignty, is freedom of choice. Mm. And one of my passions in life is to help everybody to reclaim authorship over their food lives. Because when you bring your food choices and your food habits into integrity with what you really want for your life and with what you value, something incredible happens. Your life has a coherence. It has a potency. It has a vibrancy. I used to do martial arts, and there's this sense of being centered in martial arts, and there's this sense of alignment in martial arts. And you discover that when your body is lined up just so, you're much stronger. Mm-hmm. And when it's not, you crumple. And similarly, I think in life, when we are consistently fueling our body in a way that is out of keeping with our values, with our integrity, with mm-hmm. what we really want for our lives, then there is a weakness there that shows up long-term with disease, but it shows up short-term with a kind of self-disrespect. Mm-hmm. If you treat your body like trash, if you feed it with junk, then you are saying to yourself day in and day out that you don't really respect yourself all that much.
I know.
And we think that we're going to have a happy meal. We think that we're going to have a treat. We think of healthy food and fun-free food as if there was a good balance there. But we all know that there's nothing fun about arteries that don't flow properly, or about getting Alzheimer's and not remembering the names of your loved ones.
I know.
And yet that's what we are creating when we eat junk. And so I say, when you choose to nourish your body well, and when you create the habits that help you sustain in that process, then there's a kind of potency, there's a kind of love. When you need a friend, mm-hmm. one of the best friends you're going to find is the food that fuels life.
Yes.
That fuels health and vitality and joy and self-respect and beauty. And so I am passionate about helping to reclaim our menus and our food choices as one of the best, most intimate friends in the world. I mean,
yes.
What you eat literally becomes you. Absolutely. It is so intimate. And so why not make that a good choice, a loving choice, a kind choice?
Very good. Very good. Well said. And I think we're ready to go. I'm watching. Here we go. When we come back,
you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. I'm getting a little bit of feedback there. Okay, we got it. Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn from one another, and you can hear us at whenyouneedafriend.com. I truly believe, and I'm so enjoying my conversation with Ocean Robbins, and I hope that you are too, that something is going to maybe switch, a switch that says, you know what? I have been trained to want something. I have been domesticated. I have been tricked. I have been lied to. And these are the words that we've got to say to ourselves and say, now what? Now what am I willing to do about it? And I'm so grateful that you're listening to this broadcast today with Ocean and myself, because we need some friends to help us to grow together. And today we're talking about how we can join this food revolution network, how we can work together. One of the first things you can do is go to whenyouneedafriend.com and become a subscriber. This is where we take 100% responsibility for our life. As I said before, you can take a pill or you can take responsibility. That's my registered service mark. The passion of realizing that we have been kind of trained like a dog to just take a pill If we have a headache, well, what about drinking water? What about giving your body what it needs? So this is where we take 100% responsibility for our lives. And so please go to whenyouneedafriend.com, become a subscriber. And when you do that, you will have the show sent to you. If you're not able to listen during our regular broadcast hours in your area, you will be able to listen to it on your podcast, on your iTunes, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, on your phones. So just let's work together. So go to whenyouneedafriend.com. When you become a subscriber, check out my sponsors, because without them, we would not have a show. So please check them out and figure out a way that you can support our sponsors. Also, like me on my social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you can call or text or leave a message at 407-373-5959. We are giving away one of Ocean Robbins. And for those of you who are just tuning in, Ocean Robbins is the grandson of the co-founder of Baskin-Robbins. Totally different upbringing than his father, John. And so he's sharing his journey of what it's like to be Ocean Robbins and to have that kind of passion. So call 407-373-5959. And you will be the third caller, the copy of Voices of the Food Revolution. Now, Ocean, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I know that a lot of us have been waiting for this day because we knew that you'd be sharing your truth. Share why you wrote this book, Voices of the Food Revolution.
Well, I think that one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is feeling like every expert's pointing in a different direction. You know, one day we're told carbs are, bad. The next day we're told, no, it's just processed carbs. We're told fat's bad. We should eat our low-fat cookies. Then we're told, no, you need healthy fats for your brain to function. And
it's confusing. It really is.
Is the root of is sugar the root of all evil? Is it animal products? Is it fat? Is it carbs? What are we left with? If you followed every dietary protocol in the world, you'd probably be left with water, if that. Mm-hmm. And we're told snack throughout the day. We're told intermittent fasting. We hear all kinds of different things. So I think what we wanted to do was to establish that there is in fact a consensus amongst serious experts that we know a lot. We're not actually clueless about the care of human beings. Mm-hmm. And modern medical science is telling us in no uncertain terms what we need to do. And so we convened some of the top food experts in the world to kind of put the pieces of the elephant together, if you will. You know the story of the blind men who each touched a different part of the elephant, and one touches the trunk and is like, oh, it's a hose, and someone else touches the tail and is like, no, it's a rope. And so we all have our own piece of the whole. But what we did is we brought a bunch of experts together and we look at how it all fits together. So Voices of the Food Revolution is a collection of interviews with some of the top food experts on the planet that together are displaying that we actually know what's up here.
Yes.
That the same food choices that are best for your body are also best, that are best for your heart, that are best for your brain, that are best for fighting cancer, best for fighting diabetes and obesity, are also the same food choices that are best for helping to create a more sustainable planet, for helping to create a more ethical future for life on Earth, for helping to create a world where farm workers are living with dignity. And the bottom line is, if you want to just jump to the punchline here, that we have a lot of empirical, overwhelming data telling us that when we move towards a more whole foods, real foods, mostly plant-based diet that is ethically sourced, that is not grown so much with neurotoxic pesticides, and that is a more local, more fair trade, more sustainable, we can take an incredible bite out of poverty, out of misery, out of suffering on this planet, and we can take a real powerful stand for the lives we want. So Voices of the Food Revolution brings together some of the top food experts, from Dr. Vandana Shiva looking at India, to Jeffrey Smith looking at GMOs and food safety, and Andrew Kimbrell to top doctors, from Dr. Joel Fuhrman to Dr. Dean Ornish, who are all sharing their scintillating, cutting-edge wisdom and helping us to see how the picture fits together so we can thrive.
Very good. I mean, I was looking at your book, and you have Dean Ornish, Caldwell Esselstyn, Neil Bernard, T. Colin Campbell, Joel Furman. That top 5 are my top. I mean, they've all been on the show. They've all shared. My listening friends, hopefully, are the healthiest listeners in radio here, because we're learning from the best. And when I opened your book, and I'm like, oh my God, you have all these same people that I follow. And one that in particular, when I was looking at your time with Jeffrey Smith, I would love to talk about GMOs. It's very confusing because when we go out and we buy non-GMO, there's organic non-GMO, there's GMO. I mean, it's like, okay, what is better for us? How do you understand what the labeling is? Because it's almost like a riddle.
Absolutely. Let's talk about GMOs for a second in general.
Okay.
So first of all, what's a GMO? Some people think it means God move over, but it doesn't. It actually means genetically modified.
That's probably how it started. We wanted to recreate what God created.
Yeah. I mean, humans have been modifying the genetics of plants for millennia.
Yeah.
As we choose the sweetest tomato, or, the carrot that's the longest and the hardiest in the winter, and we use it for breeding purposes. Or sometimes we even crossbreed, we take a plum and an apricot and we combine them together and get a pluot. But this is basically working within families of plants. Now, what Monsanto and the biotechnology industry have done is something quite different. They've actually inserted genes from whole other species. They can put the gene of a fish into a tomato. They can put the gene of a virus or bacteria into corn or soy, and they create a whole new life form that has certain traits. Now, what they're going for here, they've told the world that they would bring us foods that would help feed a hungry planet, that would need less water, that would have better nutrition or better flavor, and that would need less pesticides. Those have been the big promises. But 25 years into the mass production of GMOs in our farmlands, what we have seen has not accomplished any of those goals. It's led to more pesticides. It hasn't brought us better yields or more drought resistance. And it hasn't brought us any improvements in flavor or nutrition. What it has brought us is fundamentally plants with 2 traits. Number 1, plants that are living pesticide factories. They produce the pesticide Bt in every cell of the plant, so you can't wash it off. And when certain bugs take a bite, they die. Their stomachs split open and they're dead. Now, we don't know that Bt is toxic to humans, but we don't know for sure that it's not, especially in this quantity, now that it's in every cell of the plant. And then the other trait is that they're herbicide tolerant. So we can spray them with glyphosate, which is a probable carcinogen according to the World Health Organization, which now comes with warning labels in the state of California. Wow. And we're spraying them with glyphosate, and then the weeds die, but the plants don't. So we're now consuming massive quantities of glyphosates, but sprayed directly on our food crops. And what's the impact of this on humans? We don't know for sure, but I'll tell you what, glyphosate isn't just carcinogenic. It's also been patented by Monsanto as an antibiotic.
Oh my.
So we know that it can kill certain bacteria. So what's happening to our guts? We talked about gut bacteria a little earlier.
Yeah.
What is the impact on our digestive tracts of eating an antibiotic with our food? So if you want to avoid GMOs, number 1, certified non-GMO is foods that are not grown with genetically modified organisms, but organic is really the gold standard, because then you're getting away from all these pesticides. And on top of that, glyphosate is now being used as a desiccant on non-GMO crops sometimes too, to help dry out the crop before harvest. So a lot of our wheat today that isn't organic still has glyphosate. So if you go organic, then you're avoiding that whole mess. And then you can also avoid corn, soy, cotton, sugar, and canola if they're not genetically engineered, certified non-GMO or organic. And
even cotton.
Yeah, well, cottonseed oil is used in a lot of our food system.
Got it. I see. There's just so much, Ocean, so much. And so we're going to look into this network, the Food Revolution Network. And when we return, we're going to continue learning what we don't know with Ocean Robbins worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Oh boy. So, Ocean, the website that I was going to give was oceanrobbins.com.
I'll be right here. right here waiting for you.
Okay. So perfect. So foodrevolution.org. Let's talk about foodrevolution.org. What I had before when I was doing research was Ocean Robbins, but let me put foodrevolution.org. Okay, and so let's talk about the purpose. I know, Brian, let us know when you're ready to come back, that we're ready. So foodrevolution.org. Let's talk about that when we return and focus on that. Is there anything else, Ocean, that you would like to focus on before? Because this is our last segment. Can you believe how fast it's gone?
Yeah, I think we can definitely talk about how people can be a part of the food revolution, what you can do, how you can put this into action. What are some of the first steps you can take? How do you apply this?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay,
I see that we're ready. And Brian, hit it.
When you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow with one another. Today's teacher is Ocean Robbins. He is the grandson of the co-founder of Baskin-Robbins. And you can imagine that his father, John Robbins, walked away from a family fortune. Now, we can also say, I'm a victim of my DNA, but we can walk away from that victim mentality that we are going to get whatever our family got when they were eating the way they're eating. So this is a perfect example how you can take a stand for yourself and change the direction by which your life was supposed to go in. We've become, Ocean, thank you so much for coming on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show today. You know, many of us have become so passive about our health. Tell me, doctor, what to do. Tell me this person what to do. Tell me television what to do. Tell me Hollywood what to do. We need to take our life back. What are some of the things that we can do that you've found that have been great tips for people to take their life back and do exactly what your father did many years ago and what you are doing today to continue that revolution, I guess is the word that I want to use.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you know, first of all, as you're saying, you know, your DNA is not your destiny.
Correct.
Your DNA is a bunch of tendencies, but how they get expressed is a product of what you do. You know, certain lifestyle choices will literally turn on or turn off different gene expressions. And, you know, there's a whole science of epigenetics, which is showing how this actually works in the laboratory. And what we're discovering is that, yeah, of course, people who have certain DNA are more likely or less likely to contract certain diseases. But you know, if you eat the standard American diet, then it's kind of like if some people will be prone to Alzheimer's, other people will be prone to dying of heart disease, other people are more likely to die of cancer. But one way or the other, you're headed in those directions.
Sure.
And the beautiful thing is that you can also make a change. So let's talk about that for a second. How do you make a change? Let's suppose that you're somebody who wants to be healthy. Let's suppose you're somebody who knows that we live in a toxic food culture and wants to do better, wants to eat better, wants to live better, wants to thrive. And so I say the first thing is you've got to detoxify the bad stuff. You've got to get rid of the worst offenders. So take a look at your life, your kitchen, how you're feeding yourself, and identify what are the most unhealthy things you're eating, right? The most processed stuff, you know, and where are they sneaking in? Like, are you having late night cookie binges because you're lonely and tired at the end of a long day? Are you, you know, eating junk at work, going out for fast food in the middle of the day because you didn't have time to prepare a meal and you're hungry and tired and you want to do what's convenient and tasty? Is it friends and family over holidays that you just gorge on, you know, stuff you know isn't good for you because you kind of slip because you want to be a good friend and guest. Where do you, is it a spouse who isn't eating like you do and they keep pulling you in the wrong direction? So identify, like self-diagnosis. Where are you slipping? Where are you struggling? And then the question is, how do you make some structural shifts that will help you? The key isn't about willpower and fighting harder. It's about working smarter. So create the structures that help. So one thing is maybe you want to change what you buy so that you don't have the same stuff in the home. If you've got potato chips and cookies in the cupboard, then the odds are sometime at 11:30 at night when you're tired and feeling funky, you're going to grab them. So, but if they're not there, then you're a lot less likely to eat them.
Yeah.
And so the more you can shop consciously and have your home filled with good things, that's one of the biggest steps you can take.
Yeah. And I want to add there, you hit the nail on the head. I think that's how you say it. Lonely and tired. Lonely. Yeah. If somebody's eating because they're lonely, wouldn't it change their addiction or their need to eat that piece of whatever if they address the loneliness? If they were to address the loneliness, then that would be a totally different focus.
Absolutely. I think that what we need to, the way I look at it, there are kind of 5 steps.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Living the food revolution. Step 1 is we detoxify, get rid of the bad stuff. Step 2 is we nourish. We bring in the good stuff. We saturate our body with healthy micronutrients. Step 3 is we gather. We need a healthy food community. We need a web of relationships. We need people that will buoy us. Now, of course, we need just people who love us, right?
Yes.
We know that love is one of the most fundamental ingredients to health. We know that loneliness kills faster than cigarettes.
Yes.
And this is statistically proven, and belonging to something, whether it's a bowling league or a church group or a healthy eating community, is one of the most potent indicators of long-term health outcome.
Yes.
So support groups, community, love is powerful. But what happens when you couple that with healthy food?
Wow.
What happens if you actually have also community around healthy habits? So potlucks or meal swaps. Get together with friends at work, and one of you brings a healthy lunch on Friday, and another one brings a healthy lunch on Monday, and you share food like that.
Yeah.
Get together with neighbors. Hey, I'll make you dinner Thursday. Will you make me dinner Wednesday? Like you just kind of
that's great.
Like that, and it's healthy, and you root it around healthy food, and you also build community and connection. And then number 4 is transform, which is to look at your life not just for yourself, but as a part of a member of the community. And recognize that your food is actually political, that you cast a vote with what you eat for the world that you want, for the health that you want. And so when we choose, for example, to go towards organic food, it doesn't just affect our own health. We're also saying to farm workers, hey, I don't want you to die at the age of 49 because you're getting cancer from pesticide exposure in the fields. I don't want animals tortured in factory farms. I want my life to contribute to a world where animals and human beings live with more dignity, where our environment isn't poisoned. And so recognizing that as a food revolutionary, you actually, with the knowledge about the power of food, you become an activist, you become a change agent. You recognize that your life is about something bigger than just yourself. You want to put your own oxygen mask on first before helping others. But I think we also all have an opportunity here to make a difference. And then I say stage 5 is clarify, which is we're always on a learning journey. We're never thinking that we've got it all figured out. So you keep learning. What are the foods that are healthy and not? What is medical science teaching us? And you keep having an open mind and keep clarifying and figuring out what works for you. Because the vast majority of people are going to get huge benefit by cutting down on sugar and processed junk and animal products and eating more whole, real foods. But then from there, there's a lot of variation. Some people are going to do better with more fats in their diet. Other people are going to, avocados and nuts and seeds, or maybe some wild fish or whatever it may be. Other people are going to do better, on a lower fat diet. And you have to listen to your body. You have to pay attention to your unique lived experience and recognize that there's no one size fits all diet that's right for everybody. Some people digest legumes beautifully. Other people get terrible gas. Other people need to eat them in moderation and build up slowly because there's a lot of fiber, and that might be causing the gas. So you got to learn and listen and discover and see what works for you, and ultimately know that you're the only you on the planet. So we can apply the principles that work for lots and lots of people, but we can also recognize that at the end of the day, we are each accountable and responsible for doing what works best for us.
I love it. You said a mouthful. You talked about, people swapping food, and can you imagine a group of people that say, okay, I'm going to cook for Monday, you cook for Tuesday, this other person cooks for Wednesday, and then we swap like meals that everybody makes enough for everybody. And can you imagine a world like that where we feed each other? I love that. Who says that it has to be, we cook all our own food, let's create something different. I love that. So let's talk about foodrevolution.org, foodrevolution.org, to join this revolution with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we created a website. Our goal is healthy, ethical, sustainable food for everyone. We have a blog, lots and lots, hundreds of great articles on the food revolution and how you can apply it in your life, and a lot of great resources. So join us. Come to foodrevolution.org, sign up for our email list, and hear about how you can be a part of the food revolution day in and day out. We share 3 times a week breaking news and insights and tools and resources, and it's all free. And we love sharing this. So come join us, and know that you are a food revolutionary every time you choose real food over processed junk. We love you. We celebrate you. Thank you for your partnership in this revolution. We're changing lives, and we're changing our world together.
Awesome. Thank you, Ocean, for being part of the Lillian McDermott radio show. I really appreciate you and everything that you're doing to spread the word, the good news that we are powerful, and we're enough to figure this out along with people that are like-minded. So thank you so much. And to you, my listening friend, I want you to know that you're in choice. And let's do everything we possibly can to be healthy together. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. So, Ocean, we just finished the show. I'm just so grateful to you for your passion. I can feel your passion as I've done this show for the last 6.5 years, and this is your whole life journey. For me, I grew up eating my traditional, cultural food. As I grew up Spanish, in a Spanish household with the rice and beans and the half a cow in the freezer. And so I went through my own journey and my own revolution. And here I am, 6.5 years later. All the teachers that I've had on my show have taught me how to empower myself, that I'm not a victim of my DNA. Dr. Bruce Lipton. So here is, how do we go forward at this point? You didn't have to break out of anything because you were given this wonderful inheritance of good health. So there are a lot of us that, I am so grateful to the show because if it weren't for the show, but there's so many people out there that were just like me back then. Like, don't tell me I am what I eat. Don't tell me that I can reverse disease, or that, ADHD doesn't need, you can heal with nutrition and food. Food has a big thing. How do you get past that? And how do you stay so passionate without losing that momentum?
Well, I think that for me, the passion actually, I think we need to put our own oxygen mask on first, so to speak.
Sure.
So part of the passion is continually, it's a practice. It's living it, right? But I have a lot of vitality because I nourish my body well and live with gusto. I think that I also, I see the difference we're making in people's lives. And, we receive so many letters from people telling us how their lives have changed, how they've gotten off diabetes and blood pressure medications, how they've lost weight, how they have their lives back. What has
been your best letter or email that you've received and you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was a part of that. Thank you for being a part of this, whatever journey you were in. Does anything stick out for you that you say, okay, this is why I do this?
Oh, there's so many. There was Rhonda Hogan from Tempe, Arizona. She was diagnosed with stage 3 chronic kidney disease, and she had bone marrow cancer in her abdomen. She had 4 children and a whole boatload of grandkids, and she didn't know how long she'd be alive. And she joined a 6-week healthy eating class we were offering online, and she radically transformed her diet, and she saved time and money on a whole foods plant-based diet. And today she's cancer-free. Her kidney disease has gone in reverse. And she's loving her life and her food more than ever. And instead of wondering if she's going to be alive next year, she's looking forward to dancing at her grandchildren's weddings.
Wow.
You know? And she's one of the most active members of our community. So whenever somebody joins one of our online classes, she's like right in there being like, it's great. It saved my life. Like, do it. And, I just love those kind of stories because she's such a champion for, what's possible.
And so how have you, because I know you have twin boys.
Yeah.
How has your passion for good nutrition helped your children?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, our kids are, they're like 16 years old now.
Wow.
And they are amazing. They're awesomely autistic, as we say. So they were born 9 weeks prematurely, and they're on the autism spectrum. And so they've had certain challenges in life, and they're miracles. And, we tried all kinds of diets and protocols and therapy approaches. And, we're told by experts they might not ever talk, that they would be touch averse, that they were incapable of empathy for other people. And, but they're totally cuddly. They have profound empathy. They're developing in amazing ways. And I think that healthy food is part of that. Obviously they do still struggle with certain challenges, special needs, and they have special gifts. Their brains work in unique ways. And as parents, we have to love them unconditionally, just the way they are. And we also always want to help them have every possible opportunity to be the best that they can be. Yeah. And, that's what we get to do. And food is a big part of that.
And they've embraced the food, because I know with children with autism, it's so important to have the good food and nutrition, because it helps.
Our kids love vegetables. I mean, they literally will, if they go traveling and they don't get enough vegetables, they'll literally complain about it. And, they'll eat steamed cabbage by the handful right off the dinner table.
Because it's delicious.
Yeah, exactly. So they, I guess they have the bacteria in their gut that says, hey, I want vegetables. So, so yeah, of course, like any kids, there's bumps in that, but the broad picture is that they're food revolutionaries and they're pretty passionate about it. And they sometimes are pushing me to go further and do more when it comes to healthy eating,
Very good. Very good. I tell you, we talked a lot about a lot of things on the show today. Is there anything in particular that you feel that you want to leave my listening friends, my viewing friends now, with before we finish our show today?
I want to say that you matter and your choices matter. And it's not about being perfect. It's about doing the best you can with what you got. Mm-hmm. We can't make the perfect into the enemy of the good. Mm-hmm. So, see how you can apply what you're learning on behalf of life, on behalf of what you love, on behalf of the health and the vitality that you deserve. And know that, every choice you make matters. You are casting a vote every day of your life, every bite of food you take. And so the question is, at the end of the day, what are you voting for? Mm-hmm. And I say, choose life, choose love, choose to take care of precious you, and choose to stand for the health in the world that you want, because it matters. You matter. And I'm cheering for you. I'm celebrating you. Every time you take a step towards the health and the vitality and the healthy habits that you deserve, I'm with you. And so are millions of other people who are part of this food revolution. This isn't a revolution we fight with, guns and bombs. It's a revolution we fight, if that's the right word, with our knives and forks. Mm-hmm. And instead of collateral damage of, dead civilians, here, the side effects are a healthier planet for everybody. Mm-hmm. So, thank you for being a part of this, whether it's in a small way by, swapping out, burgers for beans, or, replacing potato chips with celery sticks and peanut butter, or whether it's a big shift, like, trying to change what schools are serving in your local school lunch program, or, trying to get local restaurants to go non-GMO or to go organic or to stop having antibiotic meat, or whether you want to be an activist or a personal everyday food revolutionary. I want to say you are part of something big and beautiful that is helping to shift the course of history.
Very good. Thank you so much, Ocean. As I listen to you and I watch you as well, I think about, what you have done since you were a little boy. I mean, first of all, it's like almost like somebody inhabited your body that had the knowledge before you, and went into your body and said, okay, I'm going to borrow your body, but your spirit is of someone who has lived 1,000 lives and knows the importance of good nutrition and wants to come back and talk. I mean, it's like, that's what I'm feeling from you. It's like if someone before you has entered your body and said, okay, we're going to do this together. I believe that we can do this, Ocean. And then the second thing is, just that passion, the passion that you reveal. And I am going to sign up to be a revolutionary. Let's grab our forks and know that we can make a difference. What is your greatest accomplishment at this point, Ocean, that you can say, we did this. We did this.
Yes. A greatest accomplishment. Oh my goodness. I mean, I think that I'm proud of the fact that in Los Angeles, they've instituted meat-free Mondays in the local schools.
Wow.
And there's been a concerted effort to promote healthy eating educationally and also institutionally in the city. And obesity rates for early children have dropped by 10% in the last 6 years in Los Angeles County, at a time when obesity rates nationwide are continuing to skyrocket.
Sad.
And I just think that, this matters. We need these stories told. The Oakland Unified School District implemented a system where they cut meat down to 30% of what it was in their schools, and they sourced all their meat from sustainable organic operations, and they added more vegetables and whole foods, and they saved money in the local school district. They saved $50,000, and they're helping to save the planet too.
Wow.
The amount of carbon emissions that they saved from the Oakland School District is equivalent to $2 million worth of solar panels getting installed. And if we could do this nationwide, the reality is we could take a serious bite out of obesity and help set our kids up for a healthier life. So I think kids are one of the places that really gets my heart, obviously being a dad and thinking about the next generation and what we're preparing them for. And, I'm particularly passionate about that. So when I see school districts and communities coming together and saying, hey, let's not feed our kids junk. Let's not raise them to see their bodies as trash cans. Let's take care of our next generation and raise them well. Then my heart warms with that. And I think that's something we all can stand for.
Absolutely. What can we do on our end with you live in California, I live in Florida. What can we do in Florida? What can we do for people that are listening all over the world and watch this all over the world? What can we do individually? How can we take responsibility to help this cause?
Well, first you do it by living it, right? I mean, by choosing what you eat, you make a huge impact. And then second, you look at, if you want to engage socially in the larger dynamics of your times, you have to look at the issues you care about. So if you're interested in school lunches, for example, since that's something we were just talking about, your school has a food service director for your local school district who coordinates the meals for the district. And so you could contact them. You could set up a meeting or have a phone call and say, hey, I'm curious how your district is applying, there's a wave of consciousness around healthy eating that's building in this country and around the world. We know that childhood obesity and diabetes rates are becoming epidemic, and we know that we're trying to change that. And I'm sure you struggle with all kinds of economic forces and issues that make it difficult. I'm curious how you're dealing with that. I'd love to meet with you and hear where you're at. So you start by listening and exploring and seeing how you can help, right? And then obviously, as you learn what they're doing, you may be appreciative. A lot of school districts are actually taking some steps. There's a federal mandate in the US that came in 2012 that now they have to serve, 50% whole grains. They have
Wow.
to serve a certain amount of fruits and vegetables every day. So some of these things are changing, but there's a lot of room to go a lot further. So you could inquire about it and be a community member who cares. There may be a local wellness committee for your school district. You may be able to join it. You may be able to participate in that way. You may be able to, find some local vendors that might be able, or retailers that might be open to even offering food on a discounted basis for the district in exchange for a little marketing value. So you can sometimes make these kinds of partnerships, and the big thing is just to inquire and learn and see how you can help, and know that that when citizens care, it elevates the issue, right? And suddenly people who are doing the right thing feel seen and celebrated and feel accountable, and people who are not doing the right thing know that that's being noticed too, right? When kids are eating burgers and hot dogs and processed junk and pizza with a little bit of tomato sauce for the only vegetable they're getting all day, then that should be seen and visible to the community. You can even bring the media in if you don't feel that there's enough attention being paid to the issue. So this is just an example where there's an abundance of opportunity to contribute if it's an issue that you care about and are passionate about. And whether you're a parent or a grandparent, an aunt or an uncle, a brother, a sister, a friend, a caregiver, we all have a stake in the next generation.
Yes.
And we're taxpayers. And quite frankly, if our taxpayer money is going to fund junk food, then I think we have a stake in changing that.
Yeah, the subsidizing of corn and cheese and dairy and all this stuff, we need to change that as well, because the government is helping to produce more and more. It's almost like if you're a conspiracy theorist, I don't know how you say it, if you believe in the conspiracy theory, almost think that they're controlling us to be sick. It's about sick care as opposed to health care. And right. But we can end that, just like we learned a long time ago that we're not a victims of our DNA. We're not a victim of whatever we're being told to do. So you have my commitment to join the revolution with you. And so I'm grabbing my fork and I'm ready to work with you.
Let's do it.
Thank you so much, Ocean, for everything that you're doing for our Earth, our planet, and for each one of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And to you, my viewers, I am so grateful that you watched our show today. We'll see you soon.